Well, for the first time ever in our great state of Minnesota, the DNR is telling us that chronic wasting disease, or CWD, has increased to the point in southeastern Minnesota and certain deer permit areas that they're considering it now endemic. So I came across this information in a recent article in the Outdoor News newspaper publication. It was a really well-written article, but in there the DNR staff was telling us that in deer permit areas 646, 647, and 648, the increase of positive CWD test samples from this past fall of 2024, the classification or the management approach in these deer permit areas is going to have to change going forward because of the significant increase in positive CWD samples. I was curious, so I went onto the Minnesota DNR website and I just Google searched Minnesota DNR CWD, and it takes you to that CWD management homepage. And it's actually a really nice website where you can use interactive maps to look at these deer permit areas, what the management approach is on them. And if you scroll down to the test results link, it'll actually show you exactly how many positive test results there have been or not for a given deer permit area from this past summer all the way up until today. Now, in that article, Michelle Karstensen, who is the DNR's wildlife health group leader, was telling the Outdoor News field staff that in order for the disease to be considered endemic, it has to surpass the 5% prevalence threshold. And when I checked deer permit areas 646 and 647, I did get slightly more than 5% prevalence based on the numbers that they're giving us in this table. And for the purposes of this video, I filmed this on January 3rd, 2025. So by the time you're watching this, the DNR may have updated or changed these numbers from when you're watching it. The one thing here, you guys, is for deer permit area 648, I just did some simple public school math here based on the numbers that they gave us on the website. I took 17 positive test results divided by the total number of samples, 577, and I get 2.9% prevalence rate for deer permit area 648. So why they're saying it's endemic in that deer permit area, I'm not totally sure, because according to their definition, it needs to exceed a 5% rate. But like I said, maybe these numbers are partial or incomplete, and they're going to be updating this, and maybe they know more than we do at this point. I want to read you guys one paragraph from this article that I found really profound and honestly a little bit ominous. So again, this is in the Outdoor News. This is from Michelle Karstensen and the DNR staff, and they're telling us that once a deer permit area is deemed endemic, it's understood that the management tools like culling won't mitigate the spread of the disease anymore, and it is simply a part of the landscape. So you guys, honestly, I've been a little bit depressed ever since I read this article. I mean, that's the DNR basically saying, look, we've done everything we can. There's nothing else we can do at this point, and I can't blame them. I don't know what I would do if I were in their shoes at the DNR. What could they do at this point to try to stop it or slow it down? So I'm not blaming them. It's just a little bit ominous. What does that mean for management going forward? I don't know. They're not saying. Maybe we do nothing in those deer permit areas. We'll have to see what the DNR comes out with on the CWD management plan. And there is more information on that online. If you guys check out those links, there is a lot of kind of interesting information online. You can even see maps in North America where there's deer farms where they've had positives, where there's wild deer where they've had positives. There's actually a lot of really cool information available to us online if you're curious and want to look around. Okay, so what are my thoughts on CWD, or what do I make of all this? I'm really bummed out about it. But to be totally truthful, you guys, I don't really know what this means for us as hunters here in Minnesota. And I'm being totally honest. I'm not trying to dance around it or ride the fence here. I truly don't know what this means for us. There was a day when I thought it meant the end of deer hunting as we know it. But I don't feel that way anymore. I think deer hunting will still be a thing. It just might be a little bit different, or maybe not. You know, our neighbor to the east, Wisconsin, they have a really high prevalence rate of CWD. They're still selling all kinds of licenses over there. They're still having huge deer harvests, and they're still shooting big bucks. So that's not to say that, that doesn't mean I'm okay with CWD spreading. That doesn't mean I like it. I don't. But my point is it might not be the end of the world either. I truly don't know what this means for us as hunters going forward. Now, I live and hunt in north central Minnesota, so I feel lucky that I'm not down in one of these deer permit areas in the southeastern part of the state, but I am curious and want to hear from you guys. If anybody watching this lives or hunts down in any of those deer permit areas or adjacent to them, tell us in the comments of this video, what are you guys seeing? Are you guys seeing a decrease in deer numbers? Are you guys seeing dead mature bucks because of it? What do you guys think about eating the meat of a CWD infected deer? I'm just curious what other people's thoughts are. I would like to see a rapid test be developed for CWD, and I know researchers at the University of Minnesota are working on one right now. They say we're still a little ways out from having it, available to the populace here. But if there was a rapid test where we could get results right away on if a deer was positive for CWD or not, I would use that. And although there's no known case or proven case, at least that I'm aware of, where CWD has jumped the species barrier from whitetails to humans, although there's no documented case of that, I still wouldn't eat it. If I knew the deer that I shot was positive for CWD, I wouldn't feed it to my young kids. And that's just me. That maybe you guys would, maybe you wouldn't. I don't know. I am kind of curious to hear what others would do in that case. If you knew the deer you shot was positive for CWD, would you eat it or not? But that's just my opinion on the matter. Until we know more about it, I probably wouldn't eat it. But every year, based on the prevalence rate in southeastern Minnesota and over in Wisconsin, I guarantee you there are thousands of people eating CWD infected deer every fall. So those are some of my thoughts on it. It's new to us here in this state, and it is a little bit of a depressing topic, honestly. I sure hope it doesn't change deer hunting as we know it. We'll see. I guess time will tell. I did have a thought the other day, and this might, I don't even know if I should tell you guys this, but it was kind of interesting. I was thinking about, how we do love to hate timber wolves or dislike timber wolves up in northern Minnesota, northern Wisconsin, UP and Michigan. But, what if through some paradoxical twist of fate, the timber wolves end up keeping CWD at bay, because they're eating the sick and the weak deer first, and it's limiting the spread. I'm not a biologist. It was just a passing thought I had, and it would maybe slow the spread of CWD. I don't know that it'll ever be stopped, even with timber wolves around eating the weak and the sick. I suppose eventually it would spread no matter what. Just because it sounds like once it's in the environment, it persists for a very long time. It can be spread through the feces of deer. But anyways, it was just a thought I had, and maybe it's just me trying to reassure myself or give myself some comfort living and hunting in timber wolf country up here. I don't know. But we'll see. Time will tell on this CWD thing. I do want to hear from you guys what your thoughts are on all this, and we'll have to stay tuned from the DNR to hear more about what their management, culling or lack thereof, what their management approach is going to be for these deer permit areas down in southeastern Minnesota. So a little bit different video here. I wish it wasn't such a depressing topic, but it does affect us all as deer hunters here in Minnesota. Affects us in a big way, and I think it's good and wise and prudent for us to talk about it. So that's why I wanted to make this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and take care, you guys. I will catch you on the next one.